we're live.
How's it going, guys? It's me, Brandon
Matula, and I'm Thomas Hicks. And hello. It feels good to be back here for our season 3 of Hot This Week. Feels crazy to say that we're already here in season 3. It feels like a long time. Also feels like a short time. I mean, what are you thinking, Brandon? How are you feeling?
Man, like it's new beginnings, even though there's not a ton of new things here, like with like how we're gonna go about things, maybe different days or different topics we may be talking about, but not a lot as we're gonna stick to our roots, and we're excited to just get this next installment out and cover what is hot this week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this break was really good for us just to like kind of put into perspective what we want this to be and how we can.
Yeah, I agree, and I really like how you said that it was wasn't much of a different structure for us. Like we didn't change much, but there was a lot that happened within the 2 weeks. Like so much that happened. So although our structure didn't change, we did have a lot of changes in society, and not only in music but in movies and sports. So that's going to be a great kickoff to season 3. We have a lot to talk about, and then it's only going to get better and better from here as we have more releases on music and movies, crazier sports matchups, and then the big finale, as you guys know, if you've done the math yet, maybe you haven't, maybe you have, is Spider-Man, which is like all anyone can talk about right now, ourselves included. So our last episode will be our review on Spider-Man. We're gonna get that out to you guys, which is gonna be important, because that's we're gonna cover that today. Don't worry, but it's gonna be important. So, but yeah, happy to hear it. Yeah, I agree with you, Brandon. Like it was good to kind of put things into perspective and just like focus on school, but it felt weird not recording. It just feels right to record. So if you guys did not see our post, we are now going to be releasing our podcasts on Wednesday and Friday. So Wednesday is going to be pop culture, Friday is going to be sports, and everything is going to be pretty set in stone from there. Those days might change maybe once or twice throughout season 3, but as for now, like it's pretty set in stone that that's what we're going to do. And I'm excited. That's really the biggest change, as well as we used to get into sports on the opposite episode. So like if Brandon does sports on Fridays now, I would do pop culture for like 5 minutes, but now we're just like, okay, let's just focus on one thing and just go all out for every episode, which I think is like a great idea. So we have that explained on an Instagram post. If you missed it, no worries, we got you covered. But that's what we got as far as new structure goes. But let's get on into the episode. Why don't we? Lots to talk about. Season 3, we're here. It's lit. Really good topics. Very excited. Gonna be our best season yet, leading up to the holidays. So, what's our first topic? Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to get into movies real quick because that's kind of what's going to really shape our November. So good news, and I just found this out maybe, I don't know, maybe 4 hours ago, that I won an early screening of House of Gucci.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So and early screening, not early by like a couple days, which is still very nice, but this one's early by a week and a day. So very early. This is like pretty big. So you guys are going to be getting an extra early review of House of Gucci. I'm watching that on Thursday the 18th. The time of this recording is currently Tuesday the 16th. So you guys are, Tuesday the 16th. So you guys will be getting that on next Tuesday's episode. So what did I watch so far in November? Well, first let's go through the list and I'll tell you what we watched. There's Tick Tick Boom. It's a musical with Andrew Garfield, directed by Lin-Manuel, who did Hamilton. So that's pretty interesting. And then we have Spencer, with Christian Stewart, starring Christian Stewart. I watched that incredible film. We'll get to that in a second. And then this weekend, which is also going to be on next Tuesday's episode, just a week, we got Ghostbusters Afterlife as well as King Richard. The Ghostbusters film needs no introduction. The King Richard film is Will Smith is the star in it, and he is the father of Venus and Serena Williams, kind of their upbringing in the
Yeah.
tennis game. And then we will be talking about this. Don't worry. But Licorice Pizza, the Paul Thomas Anderson film, Licorice Pizza. The press and the critics released their reviews today, and it's at a 100. I mean, I don't like Rotten Tomatoes, but this excites me. It's at a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes after the critics review. So
Wow.
big things to expect from Licorice Pizza. You also got Come On, Come On with Joaquin Phoenix, his first performance back, or lead performance that is, since Joker. It's an A24 film. Don't know much about it, which is good. I don't really want to know much about it, so but I just know it's an A24 movie, and I love A24. And then you got The Power of the Dog, which is coming out on Netflix pretty soon. Along with Tick Tick Boom, they're both coming out on Netflix. And then Belfast, which was directed by Kenneth Brogdon, who was the villain in Tenet. Okay, so those are November releases. What have I seen so far? I watched Spencer and Belfast during the break. Both two incredible films. Two films that I could honestly see getting the Oscar. So Spencer, if you guys didn't know, is the biopic of Princess Diana. And this one's interesting. First and foremost, before I even get into it, I just want to say Kristen Stewart might have the performance of the year with this
Wow.
film. And it's tough because Jessica Chastain's Tammy Faye is like on another level, but Kristen Stewart Spencer is like it. It was done so you could just tell she really cared about the role. She has a great concern for how this role is played, Princess Diana. And I love Spencer, and I love Spencer because most Princess Diana films are about her car crash and her faults in life and kind of the negative side of like what the media portrayed. With this film, it was all seen from Spencer or Princess Diana's Princess Diana's point of view. And it was her. It's a weekend, Christmas weekend. It's the film is over 3 days, and it's Christmas weekend. From her point of view, and she is struggling. You know, she was bulimic, so she was forcing herself to throw up. And she's having a lot of anxieties. She's seeing a lot of ghosts, figuratively, of course, with princesses from the past. So she's scared. She's struggling, and it's just told over 3 days. It's not told over a long time. Really good film. It's the shots are long. That's how I like it. The story is slow. That's how I like it. Really powerful ending. I love the movie. Great performance. Spencer is a must watch for anyone who loves film and for anyone who wants to appreciate the art of cinema. And speaking of cinema, Belfast is an incredible movie. Now, I know that this was the Oscar runner up as far as I'm concerned. There's a couple talks about the new Passing movie, which was directed by Rebecca Hall, which we'll get a review of. Hoping to get that out within the next 2 weeks. I just got to clear my schedule. It's going to be hard to add another movie in there, but Passing, that is coming. Just know that, guys. But I know Passing and Belfast were kind of the two Oscar films right now, and Belfast is a great film. So it's about the war between the Protestants and the Catholics, which happened in the 1940s, I believe, 1940s, in Belfast, Ireland, and it's a great film. It's a really beautiful film. It follows a young boy whose name is Buddy. It's actually got the dad of Buddy is the guy from 50 Shades of Grey. He
Oh,
gives a, he gives a pretty good. It's just funny to see, but he was good. He gave a great performance, really good performance actually. Um, and so yeah, it's a cute little story. Kind of reminds me of like The Boy in the Striped Pajamas and Minari. Kind of reminds me of those two films combined.
it's like
Um,
bittersweet.
yeah, it's bittersweet. A lot more sweet than The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Like Belfast has a way sweeter ending, but it was powerful, man. It hit hard. It was emotional. A lot of people in the theater were tearing up, and it was a lot of old people too in the theater, I guess, because they were alive when this happened. So kind of impacted them differently. But yeah, Belfast, man, great film. Definitely a must watch. A lot faster pace than Spencer, but both films are incredible, and I watched those during our little gap of this week. I give Belfast an A minus and Spencer an A. Loved both
Nice.
films. check them out, please. Belfast especially deserve your attention. I think Spencer is marketed maybe a little bit better than Belfast, but both films deserve your attention. I want to see more youth watch Belfast, which probably won't happen, but that's my goal here in Hot This Week. So yeah, so there's a little film updates for you guys. You guys know I'm the film guy. There's film updates and House of Gucci this Thursday. Ghostbusters gonna try and watch that Friday, and then King Richard gonna try and watch that Saturday, or Monday before we record on Tuesday. But more than likely, I will be watching that Saturday because I want to get that. I want to watch that as soon as possible. Okay, cool. So there's films for you guys. We'll be returning to that in just a second, but we have something big to talk about now. And we're not going to, before we even talk about it, I just want to let you guys know we're not going to give you guys our opinions on it. We just want to stay, neutral. You guys know we don't get political. We give you our opinions because that's what a podcast is, but not with certain subjects. And then this is just one of them, and it's the Astroworld incident. So first and foremost, we want to send our condolences to I think it's 9 people now that passed away. Yeah, 9 people that passed away. Our deepest condolences to those families that are grieving right now, as well as those who have suffered injuries and trauma from the event. But we're not here to tell you what happened. You know very well what happened. Everyone knows. What we're here to discuss is where we think concert security and how concert venues are going to run themselves. Where does that go from here? Do they care? Do they not care? Are they going to change up a few things? So I've been talking a lot. I want to give you guys a nice fresh voice, someone who's very, very excited for season 3 as well. So I'm gonna start this off with Brandon here. He's gonna give you his opinion because I'm sure we share a similar opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna give my voice a break here. But Brandon, not thoughts on where you think concert security and concert venues, where are they going from here, Brandon? What do you think?
Well, first off, I want to say it myself. I want to send my prayers and condolences to those who were affected by this tragedy. Very sad to see. But this might be very harsh words and a very harsh comparison, but this might be the 9/11 of mosh pit concerts, if that makes sense. As far as concert venues and the way they, like what you were saying with security and everything, I think it's the 9/11. And think about what I'm saying here. Don't think about horrible. I'm not comparing it to a terrorist event.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the aftermath.
Yeah.
What happened after 9/11? As soon as after 9/11 happened, TSA was brought about. There was TSA a little bit before, but it got a lot more enforced after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And security has never been the same.
Airplane security is intense.
Airport security. And they changed everything after 9/11. And I think this is going to bring about change. And I just think there just needs to be more thought into designing a concert. And I think what the issue is, it's something my dad always says. He always says it about Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend. He always says, you got to be careful because people are just so eager to get out and during Memorial Day weekend. And usually there's really terrible accidents during that weekend because people are acting so excited they don't know how to act.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. And I think that was kind of the case with this, series and everything with what happened. But at the end of the day, we were cooped up inside for a year, pretty much.
More than that, honestly.
Yeah. For some people more, some people less, Yeah. But that's not what the point I'm trying to make. But the point is, we were all cooped up for a little bit. And when you get cooped up like that, when you get outside, you kind of go out of your mind and you're you kind of don't care. You just rush things and you're just excited to get back to normal or back to freedom, And I feel like that's definitely a factor that happened with this tragedy. There was definitely other factors, but I think it was the fault just goes to like just the design and everything. And I just think like this is a tragedy, and it's very sad of what happened, but we learn from our mistakes, and I think just the music industry needs to learn from this. And it's sad that it had to come to lives, but that's what I think. I think it's just going to bring about change, and it's going to make the music industry. I mean, I don't know, because I concerts, but I don't know what changes need to be made,
Sure.
but people who do host these events, all these artists, they could start having these conversations and talking about better ways to go about things. But
yeah.
What do you think, Tommy?
Thank you for leading this segment. I appreciate it a lot, and I kind of knew that we were going to agree, which is why I wanted you to lead it, because I agree 100%. Like I think concert venues. I'll say this: I think they want to change, and I agree. Do they know how to change? So here is what I'm thinking. If you're a concert venue, you hire way more security, and you need to enforce the rule that if you don't have a ticket, you're not getting in. Period. If you do not have a ticket, you are not getting in the venue. Like, you have to have a ticket to get in, because these venues are designed to have a certain amount of people in them, and they can monitor that with tickets. Okay, well, this building can hold 4,000 people. Let's sell 3,500 tickets. That way, it's not super cram packed, and it's like, if there's a fire, everything will be fine. Like, these venues are, they do that. With Astroworld, I think an extra in this estimate. I don't know. Brandon's dad made a good point. We need someone who can just like sit in and look up facts for us on the episodes. But I think 5,000 tickets were sold for Astroworld, like close to 5,000, and then an extra. Do you know the total number of people that were at the festival? Do you remember?
I'm not gonna guess the numbers, but let's just say it was a lot, because we saw the footage that there was definitely people who broke in to the facility, or not even the facility, like just where it was, because it was on a field, pretty much.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I just looked it up. 50,000 people were at Astroworld.
Okay.
Jeez Louise. Okay, so I guess we'll say that they sold 30,000 tickets, which is a good size. It's enough to where things are going to get out of control, but they're not, they shouldn't get deadly. So that means we have 20,000 people that snuck in to the venue.
Wow.
I think that's what really where these deaths come from, is the people that snuck in, because if venues, they're designed and they know what they're doing, because this doesn't happen extremely. It's a very rare thing that happens. It's a horrible thing, but it's very rare. They were like, okay, we're gonna sell 30,000 tickets. After 30,000, you're done. They need to really enforce that. And Travis Scott did say, the real ragers, they'll find a way in. And people snuck in the 2019 festival, so I understand the implications of what, or I guess I should say, I understand that there were implications, like, okay, Travis, if you're a rager, you're gonna find a way in that concert, and let's just say a lot of people were ragers. But it shouldn't cost a life. Shouldn't cost a life. And something that I never even thought of, Brandon, that I wanted to applaud you for was when you were talking about how people were kind of cooped up during COVID, and just one. Great point. I mean, we're cooped up for honestly a year and a half. Can't really, you got to wear a mask here. Can't go here if you're not vaccinated. You gotta wash your hands here. I mean, it's always important to wash your hands, but you gotta double wash your hands before you sit down, after you touch the door, and after the person gives you your receipt at the menu with the food.
Yeah.
When you're washing your hands the same amount of time you're eating. Not really, but it's a bad joke. But seriously,
there's just not really time there. We've kind of lost time to like really just let loose and just have fun.
Yeah, it's basically like, okay, we got to worry about our safety right now, which safety is good. We support safety here at Hot This Week. We support safety, but it's definitely taken away some time, especially from us youth, right? I'm at the start of this pandemic. I was 18 years old, so like I was a youth. I just graduated high school. Like it was tough. It was tough, and I'm 20 now. But I say all this and I bring this up because if I'm cooped up, the first big concert that's coming out is Astroworld. I'm gonna plan on going to that concert. I want to let loose. Everyone else is going, right? All my friends are going, and their friends are going. So I want to go too. This is the official return to a somewhat normal life post COVID. And I think too many people got excited about that. And that obviously wasn't a very good thing. So that's a good point, Brandon. I think both of us we think we're going to see some changes as far as concerts go. What changes are they going to make? We don't know. I kind of have a theory that they're just going to be more like, if you have a ticket, you're getting in. If you don't have a ticket, you're not getting in, like point blank period. Like you're not getting in if you don't have a ticket. I think that's what they should do, and I hope that's what they do. But let us know what you guys think. It's once again our deepest condolences. But if concerts venues do change, what do they change? Go ahead and DM us that. What do you think? Okay. So real quick, let's get into some music. We haven't talked about music in forever, but boy, do we have some music to talk about. First, just want to get into Amine. Amine dropped an EP that I'm really digging. And I posted about it on my story if you guys saw it, but it's called 2.5. So it's the in between of his next album, because he released Limbo in 2020. So he'll probably release something in 2022. But this is just a little mixtape. And he did this with, excuse me, had to sneeze. He did this with 1.5. So there was the Good For You, his breakout record. Then you got 1.5, Limbo, and now 2.5. Hopefully that all makes sense. 2.5 is awesome. I love Colors. Sounds just like a Brockhampton song. I've said that. Colors is awesome. Neo's good. Okay With Me is good. Duddy Dum Dum is good. I love Twisted. I love it. And I love Charmander. Such a sweet track. Van Gogh is fun. Meant to Be is fun. Really, really, really good stuff from this 2.5 record. So if you haven't picked it up yet, it's only 27 minutes, guys. That's a walk to class. Not really, but that's a walk and back from class. So give this new Amine record a listen. It's bringing back the fall vibes. Some really good songs on here. Reminds me a lot of Kyle, Super Duper Kyle, Brockhampton. Really good vibes. I'm getting great vibes from this Amine project. As you guys have probably heard, we also had some Travis Scott music the day before Astroworld came out with Escape Plan and Mafia. Not a huge fan of Mafia. Definitely a skippable track in my opinion, but Escape Plan is fun. I think it's a fun track. It's a cool song. Kind of just average Travis Scott song, so it's nothing like to freak out over. But new Travis Scott music, which is big because we're from Houston, so it's kind of what everyone's listening to. Then we had Silk Sonic, which is the combination of one of my favorite artists, Anderson .Paak, and Bruno Mars. They came together to make an album. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. Have you heard of any of Silk Sonic's stuff
I
so
think
far,
I
Brendan?
have. There's that one song where it's like, "What you doing? Where are you at? Oh,
Leave the
you
door
got
open.
Yeah, Leave the Door Open." Is that them?
Yep, that's exactly
Okay.
it. What you doing? Where you
Okay,
at?
cool. So they
Yeah.
released an album. So that was a single, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And
And
this
yeah,
is an
now we
album.
have the album, and it's 31 minutes, 9 songs. Really good stuff in here. I wouldn't say it's underwhelming. A lot of people were very excited for this. I don't think it's not underwhelming, but it's not as uh, big as we thought it was going to be with the Leave the Door Open and Smoking Out the Window, the two singles they dropped prior, which were really fun singles. But regardless, like really cool stuff. We had a lot of fun with and Skate. They also released Skate. I knew I was missing something. They also released Skate as a single. Really fun stuff here from Silk Sonic. It's cool because Bruno Mars was kind of like our childhood and then Anderson .Paak is like the new Bruno Mars, and we're adults now, so it's cool to see these two forces come together. And I'm liking what I'm hearing. So go ahead and check that out if you guys haven't. My favorite song from the EP, Skate's cool. I like Skate. Smoking Out the Window's cool. Like those two tracks. So we also have what might be our biggest topic today because we know that the fans of this artist are very, very bold, one would say. Taylor Swift, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon, did you end up listening to any of this new Taylor Swift?
Yes, I did. My girlfriend is actually a very big fan. So, I mean, she tolerates me with Kanye of how much I like him. She
Mm-hmm.
listened to Donda with me. So, in return, I listened to Red with her. And this time, listening to Red because what she's doing here, y'all Swifties probably already know what's up. But for those who don't, so basically, the rights back to her music,
Mm-hmm.
basically, or her record label, or she has her own record label now. So she's re-releasing her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And you might ask, oh, well, how is she making money? Well, what she's doing is she's like re-recording him, first of all, because her voice sounds the same, but it's matured a lot. And a lot of the Swiftie fans like that it's matured a lot. And then along with that, she's putting in songs that should have been in there. So basically, it's a double deluxe version of like all her past albums. Like she did, forgot what the one she did before, Redemption or something. I don't know. But Red is like one of the catalyst albums that really made Taylor Swift big as far as a pop star, because she obviously started as a country music
Yeah.
star. But yeah, that Red was one of the first albums that really set her way, and Swift fans were really excited about this, and it lived up to the hype. There were a lot of songs in there that I really enjoyed. Of course, it's Taylor Swift, but there were the new ones that I listened to. Some of them were like ghostwriting songs, if that makes sense. Like she writes a lot for other artists.
Yeah.
She's a very
She writes all of her music, which is
yeah,
like, yeah.
and she also writes for other artists, and she sang some of the songs that she wrote for other artists, if that
Oh,
makes sense. So there
yeah.
were a lot of songs where I was like, wait, I've heard this before, and then I would keep on being told, well, yeah, this person came out with it, but she was the original writer. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
But did you get a chance to listen to it?
Yeah, I listened to a few tracks here. I knew I so as I posted in the Instagram post, a good buddy of mine, Mason Rouser, he is in love with Taylor Swift. I would say that, you know, you guys know I love Tyler the Creator. Brandon loves Kanye West. Well, Mason loves Taylor Swift. It's just kind of things that are known here in our friend group. And he's a huge fan, mega fan. So I kind of asked him for his opinion because who better to go to for an opinion about this, what's going on? And he gave me a lot, which is good. He gave me a lot of information. Exactly what you just said, Brandon. There were some fights between her and the label, and so she finally re-signed. She got a new deal with Universal Music Group or UMG, where now she completely owns everything. And so now that she owns everything, she owns every album she's made after Reputation, the album Reputation, and every re-record is known as Taylor's version. So this is Red, Taylor's version. So we asked Mason. I was like, Mason, why is this important? Um, and he said it's really important because she's mature, like you were saying, Brandon. It's pretty cool. And she also feels like artists are not valued as high as they should. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like Taylor, her discography was not on Spotify for a little bit of time. Whenever Spotify was getting pretty big, um, because she felt like artists weren't getting paid fairly. And this is all coming from Mason here. So he gave me kind of a little bit of background on that, as well as like what you said between the record label. So I was like, okay, so like, what is your personal opinion as a Taylor Swift mega fan, right? What do you think? And I love how he said, this is his quote. He said, "Hearing Taylor's 30-year-old, grown in voice sing over words she wrote when she was 21, and knowing how everything turned out in the end is honestly really special." And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's kind of the takeaway from what's going on right now. Um, because I mean, like I said earlier, I'm 20. If I was were to think of what I was doing at 10 years old and what I thought it was going to be, some things have changed. Some things haven't changed, right? Like I knew I wanted to work in media, and I wanted to work, with celebrities and work in an industry, a pop culture industry. But I also wanted to be in the NBA, and I wanted to, go to this college, and I wanted to live in this state. So it's like you're just not the person you were 10 years ago. And so 11 years, or excuse me, 9 years later, Taylor's had a lot of growth, as we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. And Taylor really, she's catering to the fans here because Taylor gets to relive her albums, and she's bringing the fans along with them. And then I asked Mason, which ones were his favorite. He says he likes Fearless, Taylor's version, and then the newly Red, Taylor's version. Because he hasn't revisited those albums too much when they were first released. But Fearless is a big album to Taylor. It means a lot to her. And Red is just an overall good album. It wasn't always Mason's favorite, but he's grown to love it. And then with this newly recorded version, he's grown to love it even more. So kind of a little bit of background. Taylor Swift dropped. Those are our thoughts. Those are the thoughts of another super fan. Just kind of running through it. You guys probably know this, but if not, there are updates for you. That's what we do here on this week. So, All Too Well. That's the track everyone's talking about. This track hits me personally because Jake Gyllenhaal is one of my favorite actors, and apparently it's about Jake Gyllenhaal. It's up in the air, but it's pretty confirmed it's about him. So I asked him, what are your thoughts on the short film? What do you think about the All Too Well music video? He loves it. Who doesn't? He loves how it was shot on 35mm film because it gives you a memory-like quality, and I think that is an incredible quote. Mason, as well as he loves Sadie Sink's acting, because there were shots where Dylan O'Brien was talking, but Sadie Sink, it was on her face, and you could just see her emotions. He loved that. And I love that as well. And anyone who's seen the music, I'm sure you would agree with that.
Yep.
It makes sense that she would come out with this song, this video, at this point in her life, is what he was saying. And although it's a short film, it's more of a music video. It's more of a music video, but it's definitely trending on YouTube. Everyone watched it. And I thought it was pretty cool. So those are kind of Mason's thoughts as well as mine mixed in. Thank you, Mason, for sending that in. That was a lot of information, and I'm glad that I have a friend who is a super fan of Taylor Swift to kind of explain this to a higher degree. All Too Well, I watched it. Me from a film person's perspective, it was just a music video. I don't think we can call Taylor Swift a director yet, but if she wanted to dabble in directing, I would be all for it. I think this is a good little resume. Hey, I would like to tip my hat to the directing world. I think it'd be fun. So, good song, cool music video. I like Dylan O'Brien a lot. Sadie Sink is a fellow Houstonian. I have no problems with it. I don't think it's like cinema, you would say. It's kind of more of a music video. But it was cool. So, anyway, little Taylor Swift rundown for you guys. Some more information on Taylor Swift if you didn't already know that stuff, as well as thoughts from a super fan and from Brendan and I. So, there you go. Good stuff. And I'm really digging the topics for today. Well, guys, that it's going to be a shorter episode.
Well, hold on. We got our Spider-Man No Way Home to talk about too.
Yes, thank you. So, exactly what Brandon said. It's going to be a shorter episode. Or what I was saying, it was going to be a shorter episode, but as Brandon informed me, and thank you again, we're not done yet. We have one more thing to get to, and I don't think it'll be a crazy short episode. But this is if this episode's long, this is why, right? So once again, like with the Astroworld topic, I'm going to switch back over to you, Brandon, because you're more of a Marvel fan than me. I'm a cinema guy, but you're a Marvel fan, and you've probably watched this trailer, so many times over before this. So go ahead and hit us with your thoughts on the new Spider-Man No Way Home trailer.
Well, first of all, I'm not even going to give a spoiler warning. I've looked at the view count. I think it's at 10 million right now, and it hasn't even been 6 hours.
Crazy.
So, yeah. So all of y'all have seen it. So don't even get mad. Let's dive into it.
Well, you can't spoil it.
Yeah.
So.
This is not a video podcast, so I can't go frame by frame with y'all, but I'm going to talk about key points that really got me excited. So, of course, all the excitement is Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield going to be in the films? I really think so now, and here's why. No, they are not in these trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my logic as to why they are actually in the film. First of all, if you're Marvel and Sony, why would you? At the end of the day, Marvel is trying to be Marvel and Sony. Sorry, I keep on forgetting to say Marvel and Sony. They're trying to be the Christ figure in a way, to be the people that bring people back to theaters, if that makes sense. Yes, we're seeing a few people coming back to theaters, just a little bit. It's trickling. It's getting back to normal.
Well,
but
I would say more than a few when it comes to Marvel. Looking at Shang-Chi, Venom, and Eternals, like they're bringing people back to the theater.
Yes.
Marvel specifically.
But they want this to be the bomb.
Yeah.
They want this to be the type of movie where people are going to want to go back and see it several times. Kind of like if I'll admit, I went and saw Infinity War 3 or 4 times. And I have friends that did that as well. So that gets their revenue up, and that just helps them out. I want Spider-Man No Way Home to be exactly the same thing. And I think the only way you do that is if you put those guys in that film.
Yeah.
They probably talked to Tobey and Andrew and were like, hey, I know our grievances in the past. Tobey, do Spider-Man 4. Andrew, we didn't do the Amazing Spider-Man 3. But hey, this is our chance to right these wrongs, and y'all can be a part of history to bring movies back. Mm-hmm. To truly bring them back, if that makes sense. So they're actors. They're two of the greatest actors ever. That I wouldn't, in my eyes, I think they're pretty iconic actors, not just because of their Spider-Man roles, but they wanted to bring it back because that's what's going to get people to come in, because people are going to say, yeah, you have to go see it, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah. That's reason one. That's reason number one why I think they're in the movie. Now the next reasons have to do with the trailer. So if you're watching the trailer, it's shortly after the bridge scene when Dr. Octavius comes up. He's chasing Peter, and he stubs him to a wall. And then Peter, before Doc Ock does something terrible to him, he takes off his mask. And then Doc Ock looks at him and goes, "You're not Peter Parker." So first of all, we have the very villain that was in Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2, and he confirms the existence of another Peter Parker on screen. So you cannot tell me they're just gonna lightly talk about it and just like brush it off like it didn't happen in the film. Mm-hmm. He is definitely in. And then the next shot that y'all probably saw on my Instagram, like you could see, like go to my story.
This is my favorite right here. I like this. This is the big debate of the night.
Yeah, and I think Tommy, you can agree with me. I think. Have you seen my story? Have you seen the picture?
Well, I just saw like everyone reposting about how Lizard. Dr. Connors, was turned around. Is his name just Lizard?
Yeah, Lizard. So, like he's like, so the frame it's a beautiful shot. Like I know it's all CGI, but dude, it is a pretty epic shot. It's at night. It looks pretty crazy. So Spider-Man's jumping towards Sandman that was in the Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi series, and Electro who has a little bit of a makeover, but was in Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man, along with Dr. Connors slash Lizard.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the shot, like if you look at Lizard specifically, he's jumping towards something, and it's not the Peter Parker that we see on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just air. It's just nothing. And we have seen Marvel and Sony do this. Mess with the CGI and put something in the film or put something in the trailer that's not accurate to the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a perfect example, because what is he jumping at? Like like the way he's jumping, it looks like he's starting to fall in that shot. So that means he's gotten to his maximum height to get to wherever he's trying to get. I know it sounds like I'm reading too much into this, but this is what Marvel does. This is what's so beautiful. And I know, Tommy, you criticize, like, I wouldn't say criticize, but like you're not the biggest fan of superhero movies, but this is what is so beautiful about the Marvel franchise, is that like every little shot, every little detail like this goes up for speculation and, oh, is this confirmed and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and people make money off of this, like all these big YouTube channels like Supez, the guy that's on TikTok that always talks about Spider-Man No Way Home, and then New Rock Stars, all these people who make money off of breaking down shot by shot. And that's what's so cool about Marvel. And at the end of the day, I thought I would have been disappointed if Toby and Andrew are not in the film. Now I'm at the point that I really wouldn't mind if they're not, because I think this is going to be a visually stunning movie. And I mean, if you look at Doc Ock, Tommy, the Alfred Molina, I think that's his name, the actor's name.
Yeah.
Like the CGI, not the CGI, the de-aging they did on him, dude. Like it's to the point now, like where, oh my gosh, they can de-age anybody these days.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
He does look really good. So I'm gonna jump in here, because you said you really don't care if Andrew and Toby are in the film now, because this. I disagree. I think that you have to put them in the movie now.
Oh, like, no, I agree. I agree. I'm more so saying, sorry to talk over you. I'm more so saying that, like, I think the film by itself will be great, but because of the circumstance that we're in, and because of the fan base that kind of forced this to happen, which is why I think the trailer and everything was delayed. I think they were adding in Toby and Andrew. I think that's what was happening. So I think they're in, and yes, it'll be a little bit of a disappointment if they're not, but without them, I still think the film can be great.
Yeah. I think it'll. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be sitting in that theater, and every second that Andrew and Toby are not confirmed to be in the film, I'm going to be. I'm gonna be not disappointed, but I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat. Are they gonna be here? Are they not? And you did mention that I don't like Marvel films, and that is true. I don't like Marvel films, but I can get behind Spider-Man, because everyone loves Spider-Man. Even the biggest of Marvel haters, you gotta love Spider-Man. He's just so much fun because he's so relatable. We've all been, teenagers and high schoolers before, and it's just awkward, and you're just, trying to find yourself and all that bull crap. Like, we've all gone through that, so we can relate to Peter. More importantly, Spider-Man is kind of aware that it's silly. Like, there's a man who is a spider. He shoots webs, and he fights giant lizards and sand people, like sand monsters. So they kind of know that it's silly, but they do a good job of like being self-aware about it. Like, okay, this is silly, but let's just commit to the silliness. And I can really respect that. So my thoughts on the trailer, guys, before we wrap up here. I loved it. It got me way more excited for the film. Originally, I was just like, okay, this could be a flop. Not box office wise, obviously, but film wise, because that's my biggest critique with Marvel films. I don't think they're actual films, but this could be an actual film. So I'm really excited. I'm really banking on Andrew and Toby being in the movie, but I'm excited regardless. I'm going to be there on opening night, on opening weekend. It's in a month from now. So we'll see you then. But goodness, like, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I haven't been more pumped for a film in a long time. Licorice Pizza, I'm really pumped for, but Spider-Man, dude, it's just gonna be something different. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I, I'm really gonna pay attention to, and I always do pay attention to your critiques, but I'm really gonna pay attention on this one because if everything that we're speculating comes true, oh my gosh, this movie is just gonna have
dude,
it's
it's
gonna
gonna
be jam
break the
packed.
world. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's gonna be
and
if dude, I can't even fathom. Oh my
if
gosh.
if the director of this movie, what's his name again? Do you John Watts? I think that's his name. If he can pull this off and like have all these characters in here while also telling a good story in your eyes as somebody who's a film critic, oh my gosh, this might top Endgame. It might, like, maybe not box office wise, but as far as storytelling and true cinematography, as you say, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's gonna be one of the better Marvel films for sure. I think it'll top Endgame as well. But we're at the 46-minute mark, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up here, so that way we don't go on too long. Because I do want to make tonight as well as our sports opening. I want to make those kind of just short to the point because we haven't been back in a while. So we kind of just want to give you guys boom, 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 information after information after information, get you excited for season 3, and then kind of smooth things out and not rush things. Of course, 'cause that's another thing that we were talking about. There's no time limit here on our episodes in season 3 and going forward, but just for the first episode, I did want to kind of keep things just short and precise because I know a lot of people are excited for this, and I want to respect their time. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. A lot of big things coming out, as you guys know. Like I've said, in next Tuesday's episode, we will be covering House of Gucci, King Richard, Ghostbusters. Hopefully, passing as well. Hopefully, I can get to that. We're gonna be covering those films, so a lot of films to get to, a lot of film reviewing.
Absolutely.
But
And on Thursday, we're going to just be going over some college basketball. First week is already behind us. Week 2 is already well on its way. We're just going to talk about just the things to look forward to this year because, man, our one of our favorite sports is back, and
yeah,
we're glad to have it back. And then, as always, we're going to have our 5 games of the weekend, we'll call it a weekend for Hot This Week, like games from Friday to Tuesday, if that makes sense. But yeah, we're very excited to get our first installment of the sports section out for Hot This Week. But
mm,
this has been a great episode. We hope y'all love the format. And Tommy, as always, you killed it.
appreciate that, Brando. Yeah, this is I'm very excited for season 3. It's where there have been a few not filler episodes, but a few slower episodes and seasons 1 and 2. But I think every single episode in season 3 is just going to be nothing but of great importance. Starting with this episode, a lot of big things to get to. So if you guys like the topic that we covered and you want us to cover it more, please DM us, let us know. But I just want to give you guys those quick topics. That way we could all catch up together because we're all in this together. So without further ado, my name is Thomas Hicks.
And I'm Brandon Matula.
Matula. We will see you guys in a couple days.
Bye.
Bye.